Alright guys, welcome to VALORANT News. Major roster developments last night with Sentinels confirming something will be happening with their roster in the very near future. Rumours that Zekken's contract is coming to an end. Doesn't mean he's necessarily going to leave Sentinels, but it certainly means he will be exploring opportunities elsewhere. And with rumours that 100 Thieves are looking to build a super team, what does that mean for the future of these rosters? Loads of questions for you guys to try and answer in the comments below today. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. We're going to dive right into things because the chair is officially back and it's not going away. Even as Zelsis says, Rostermania, here we go, right? So things are getting pretty hectic. We've seen some of the scrimbucks over the last few days, what these teams are cooking up, and there's no time to talk about really anything else other than roster drama last night. We're going to begin here with TenZ. So, what are MIBR cooking? This is a good question. They just had a great run at the World Championship, Aspas and co. They've done it again, but after getting knocked out of the World Championship, Aspas was pretty clear to the media that he did not want to comment on his future with MIBR. We understand his contract is likely coming to a close. There will be interest in Aspas from like every org under the sun, pretty much. There will be many organizations trying to have conversations with him. It doesn't feel at all guaranteed that Aspas will stay on MIBR going forwards, but what do they do with the rest of their team? TenZ, who, okay, was expected probably to be parting ways, but there's a bit of interesting drama here. So he says, my contract is coming to an end. I'm a free agent for 2026. Thankful and proud of everything that I've improved on in the last couple of years with them, but now it is time for a change. Now, the big drama around MIBR last night was this. So Bruno Porelleri comes out with this article. Curious story. Now a free agent, TenZ had mistakenly signed a contract renewal with MIBR last year when the team claimed it was a document for Spotlight, like a Spotlight tournament. The situation caused quite a stir internally, and these are the details. So Porelleri has a good record of reporting, certainly in, South America. And if this is true, I think credit to TenZ for not exposing all of this, like himself, but still pretty wild. So, well, as is described, between the end of November and the beginning of December 2024, so roughly a year ago now, MIBR pressured TenZ to renew his contract, which would run until the end of this season, but the organisation had not yet presented a proposal or advanced in talks to do so. In this scenario, MIBR sent a document to the player explaining, apparently, that it was related to Spotlight, an off-season tournament that brought together players in VCT and Game Changers and was held in Los Angeles, US between the 6th of December and the 8th of December last year. However, in reality, the document was actually a contract renewal until the end of 2026 and with the same salary as his current contract, which ends at the end of this season. The player then signed and realised it wasn't a Spotlight document a few minutes later. So it was at this point that TenZ demanded an emergency meeting to make it clear that he would not accept the renewal and also to express his dissatisfaction with what he deemed as their deception, even though they agreed to discuss the renewal at that time. The incident generated a negative internal backlash, and ultimately the secret renewal wasn't approved and they decided that document was not going to remain valid. After this situation, MIBR never officially offered him a renewal, therefore the player became a free agent during this transfer window and can be signed for free for any organisation next year, and the organisation decided they would not comment on internal processes when queried on the matter. So this is kind of crazy, right? And I don't know how they thought they could get away with this. It doesn't seem like it was some sort of a mistake, and well, at least the implication being that TenZ was given a document that he thought was simply an extension for, I don't know, a month or so he could actually play at this upcoming tournament, but actually it was a little bit further. Now, of course, look, if you're going to sign something, you've got to read it in pretty great detail, right? So, it's kind of on him, but also it's kind of on the obviously we don't know exactly what was said behind the scenes, but he felt like they were deceiving him to a certain extent, trying to get him to accept this contract extension. Then maybe he was like, right, I'm going to lawyer up, and then they were like, okay, all right, whatever, like fine, we'll just keep you on the 1-year deal, and then probably pretty inevitable that he was going to go at the end of this season anyway. So that's a bit of juice behind the scenes. If that's true, that MIBR tried to do him dirty like that, as it were, then questions on which players would be queuing up to play for this organisation, and also whether Riot might have a little question as to whether their franchise agreement remains intact, but there's also discussion on the other players, right? So Cortasia, who comes up as courtesy with the translation, but Cortasia and Zenem, they are potentially going to stay. They still have a contract until the end of next year, meaning anyone interested in them will have to reach an agreement. But Aspas and Verno, who comes up as True, is pretty funny, but Aspas, I mean, you can actually click on it, it'll show you who they are. So Aspas and Verno, they only have a contract until the end of this season, and therefore they will be listening to other teams. So pretty much the bottom line is Artzan is going to be gone. He probably doesn't want to come back maybe, but he's been there a little while. He's a total free agent. Cortezia and Zenem still under contract, but we think they might want to get rid of both of those players. At least Zenem is probably unlikely to stay. And then Aspas and Verno, in an ideal world, they would like to keep them, but they've not signed long-term deals. So they could take other options, and Aspas might well. So that's the MIBR situation. Another rumour from that region on Crew. So there are rumours that Vitality, they might keep less, but they are allowing him to listen to offers anyway, and rumour has it that Crew are certainly interested. There was a bit of talk about whether Crew might want to get Sadak back off Carmine Core. So, you know, Sadak and less on Crew, something that is worth thinking about. One announcement which was officially made yesterday was Heretics. So we'd heard the other day that Miniboo was set to go, and that was made official yesterday. Now, Miniboo actually confirmed in his video on it that this was actually his decision. So I've got this playing in 2x speed, but if you guys kind of quickly just watch some of the hashtag or captions basically. But anyway, he pretty much says that he was struggling for a little while with mental health and everything, and being in Berlin wasn't great for him. And he just feels like his improvement as a player, development in his personal life, the fact that he's been with this organization for a couple of years, he feels that staying is not the best decision for him and maybe for the team in the short, medium and the longer term. So he's decided to take a step in a different direction. They may well have been willing to keep it up and keep running it back, but Miniboo believes that it's best for all involved for him to part ways and see where it goes from here. So look, Heretics will be making a change. Miniboo is stepping away from the team, of course leaving his brother Boo still there on the roster, so wishing them both the best. But, you know, I think Heretics has done a great job, but as we know, all good things they do tend to come to an end. So Heretics did a nice little kind of goodbye video yesterday. We'll see what they decide to do in his place in due course. There's also Okonos. He tweets a fair bit out. He's got the red, the green, the cat, the you know, the, like, what's he got here, the cherry blossom thing, so maybe talking about Japanese team or something. He's got the blue. So obviously people are very much theorizing where he might go. There's a little bit of talk about evil geniuses right now with Okonos, but time will tell on that one. Let's talk about Sentinels though, what's going on here, because, well, Ari says, pretty interesting, 100 Thieves, what are they cooking up? Because we know that all of their players are potentially gettable, but they're all allowed to explore opportunities, all allowed to navigate this scenario. But also we know that pretty much for all of them, they're still under contract. Do they want to bring them back? They absolutely can. According to rumours, 100 Thieves are looking to go big, right? And this is something I hadn't massively considered until this point, but it is relevant. We know that they're doing the evaluation for the partner teams for next year. If there is a year to try and go hard, this is arguably the year, right? Show Riot you're serious, you're competitive, you've got money, and then when the partnership agreements are extended, then you can relax a little bit and say, okay, we're actually gonna, you know, run back our expenditure just a little bit. So it's kind of like when the franchising partnership league first came around, where teams were going big, right, to try and get into it for 2022, and then the teams that failed, they waste a lot of money, but the teams that succeeded, they could then, if they wanted to, just have a little bit of a relaxation period, not like many of those organizations did. But apparently 100 Thieves are serious here. Now, we have discussed for a little bit of time whether Zekken and Cryo could be a duo again. I've certainly mentioned it from the perspective of Sentinels. FNS has said it as well, that trying to get Cryo could be a good idea. But maybe 100 Thieves will try and do the same thing. And that's especially possible given the rumours about Zekken last night. So Sentinels, they've done it again. It's time to talk. Here it is, the red chair of doom. Kaplan will be sitting down and he will be saying a few words. Now, will he be talking at all about Zekken? Because the other rumour of last night for Makamaru is as follows. He also said, Thomas, that he does have some theories or sources on what 100 Thieves are doing, and he'll publish them in due course. But this seems to be true. Zekken will be exploring options ahead of 2026. This is because his contract is at a close. This does not necessarily mean that Zekken will be leaving Sentinels, but it means that they can't stop him precisely if he wants to, right? So if his contract expires this year, which we believe that it does, of course, any good player any sensible player will explore options, because if he has offers elsewhere, he can then go to Rob Moore and say, well, look, this team is going to pay me this amount of money. If you want to keep me, you're going to have to pay me this, right? So it's only sensible, given that we believe he's out of contract, to explore other options. But also, it means that while you wouldn't expect Zekken or Gen.G to go anywhere, it's absolutely a possibility that they do. It would be a big surprise if Sentinels were to part ways with him or decide for him to go. That would, be very unexpected. But if he himself decides, as MIBR has done, that his future is better spent elsewhere, then it doesn't seem like there's much the Sentinels are going to be able to do. So there is some nuance here for sure. But there is going to be an announcement. So Rob Moore actually says it 10 a.m. Pacific today. So from when this video is going out, roughly 6 hours time, we will have news to share. So they're going to announce something. Like, feel free to speculate in the comments. I'm not going to go into detail on what this all could be, because again, it could be a number of things. Sentinels are pretty good at keeping their cards quite close to their chest. Look, are they bringing in Baby Bay? I kind of doubt that one, right? He's still with G2 for the time being. So, loads of theories. Rocket Bullet says, okay, Era quotes it, Zekken and Zelsis retiring, I can't believe it. Rocket says Gen.G going to Carmine Core. So, I mean, there's no real evidence behind this, and he says, look, the rumors are fake. But who knows what's going to happen next. So, yeah, people are going to be wondering, right, what's going to happen with Zekken, what next there. And just to close out the video, I wanted to share what TenZ had to say. So, there's just been a couple of interesting theories here, because they put this video out on the Sentinels channel last night, the TenZ clutch that shocked the world, and this is TenZ. And this clip I'm just going to show as we close the video here was from TenZ when he had a conversation with Leo Farrier very recently, and Leo was like, all right, what do we need to do to get you to come back? Because let's be honest, TenZ was the face, and the viewership has not been the same without him, and Valorant and Riot would love TenZ to return to competing. So, I don't know, with Leo saying that, okay, I'll see what I can do, and TenZ saying, oh, maybe I'll have to consider it, there have been some people throwing around some speculation that maybe TenZ's time competing is not necessarily over just yet. But very much interested in your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.
There was speaking of Daskai, there was the gala, right? And then in the distance, I see Leo Faria, and so I'm like, I go up to him, we're chatting up a little bit, and he strikes me with the question. He goes, "What can I do to get you back?" And do you know what I said? I said, first off, we could start with some new fucking monitors and an adjustable desk. And he looked at me in the eyes, he said, okay, I'll see what I can do. So, if for any reason they have adjustable desks and new monitors, shit, bro. Match found. Shit.